Greetings and welcome to the Introduction to Astronomy. In this week's exploration of the solar system, we will talk about the Phoenix spacecraft and what it helped us learn about the planet Mars. So let's get started here. So Phoenix was launched in August of 2007 and arrived at Mars the following year, May of 2008. Its purpose was to study the habitability of Mars, and it actually landed in the polar region, something that had not been previously well explored. So here we see the spacecraft in this put together image looking at what it would look like on the surface of Mars. So we can see various detection equipment, the robotic arm in the foreground there that would allow it to scoop and look below the surface soil of Mars, as well as various other instruments that would help us study Mars. Now, what did we find out from Phoenix? Well, one of the things we found was a permafrost under the Martian soil, and we saw some patterns in the soil that were there. Now, some of the permafrost we see here, and in fact, when we dig into the surface, and here we show it on two different days, Sol 20 and Sol 24, the sols on Mars are simply days on Mars. So a day on Mars is a little bit longer than a day on Earth by a little over half an hour. So we don't measure time by Earth days because that would not make sense on Mars. We measure it by Martian days, which we call sols. Now here we see on Sol 20 that we had dug into beneath the surface of Mars, and you can see that kind of whitish coloring there, which is actually an icy material. And if you compare it over the course of those 2 days, you can see, especially in the inset image, how much of it has disappeared. This is the permafrost below the surface. Now, normally it would then, when it's exposed to the heat of the sun, then the sun would be warming it up, and Mars, because of its temperature and pressure, does not melt. The water ice would not melt. It is actually a dry ice on Mars because of the extremely low pressure, and it undergoes a process known as sublimation. And that's what we're seeing here over the course of these 4 days, that some of this material has already started to disappear in that relatively short time. We also see patterns in the soil that are associated with this as well, and we can see that there are patterns, especially as we look out toward the horizon here. We can see that various different patterns associated with there being water underneath and the seasonal changes that would occur in the polar regions as the area is heated and then frozen again. Snowfall was actually found as well. Does it snow on Mars? Well, yes, it does. There are actually high-level clouds, and you can get some small amounts of snow that will fall through the atmosphere there. Now, it's not a lot. You're not going to get snow building up on Mars completely the way you do here on Earth, but it is something that occurs there as well, and it was able to determine that Mars was much warmer and wetter in the past. Now, the end of the mission was November 2nd of 2008. The craft was not designed to withstand the cold Martian winter. So remember, this is in the polar regions, and that Mars has similar seasons to Earth, except that they're much longer because of the longer orbit, and therefore it was not designed to withstand it, but did give us some more information about Mars and help us to better understand what was going on beneath the Martian soil. So let's go ahead and finish up here with our summary, and what we've looked at today was the Phoenix spacecraft launched to study the planet Mars, landing in the polar regions for the very first time, and finding evidence of permafrost and a much warmer and wetter Mars in the distant past. So that concludes this week's exploration of the solar system video on the Phoenix spacecraft. We'll be back again next week for another exploration of the solar system video. So until then, have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in class.